Hi guys, how are you? Type A here. Today we are going to be doing these drums, tonal drums with Foley sound, textures, and some synths. Basically, using three layers of audio to create a tonal atmospheric piece, a drum that you can use in your tracks, and it's really simple. Pretty much everything is all Bitwig, and yeah, it sounds like this. Yeah, so I usually try to make at least three layers. One for a more tonal, cohesive sound that is going to allow me to put this beneath any song that I'm working and stay like in tune or in relation to the tone of the song, because I've seen a lot of drums that are very atonal and they work for percussive stuff like techno and hard hitting drums, especially if you don't have any instrumentation around. But this one is, you can pretty much use it as a pad, like a slowly evolving and changing pad that you can sit beneath your drums and your bass sound and EQ it a little bit and have it like really work. So yeah, I really encourage you guys for making this sort of stuff to get any sort of sample manager, unless you already like really know your library, because this is going to help you a lot. For instance, what I usually do is to create three different layers. This one's going to be like tonal. This one can be like Foley sound or texture, something like that. And I try to, because this sample manager is going to basically add a lot of tags to my whole library. There's stuff here that you're going to find that is hardly, if you set your mind to look for this stuff, it's going to be like really difficult. So for instance, if I type here atmospheric sounds, it's going to show me everything in the library that tag as an atmospheric sound. And basically you can go here and randomize the selection, so it picks random samples out of the whole collection. Yeah, so something like this, for instance, I'll put it here. Let me look for a Foley sound. Yeah, something like this. Any additional texture is going to be good. Yeah, something like this. Now the fun part about this stuff is using the effects, and pretty much the something that glues all of this stuff together is making the sample stretch the sample as long as you want, and using tons of reverb delay. And for this tutorial I'm using the Bitwig reverb, but I've been using a lot the Eventide reverb black hole. I strongly recommend this stuff, guys, because usually the reverbs you get with your DAW or that you can buy, for the most part, are like emulations of physical rooms, like algorithmic reverbs try to emulate rooms or halls, stuff like that. Sometimes convolution reverbs tend to go a bit faster, and basically using the impulse response you can emulate whatever you want. But this black hole reverb, my understanding is that it's not program following any standard like room or anything like that. It's basically trying to simulate what it will be reverb on space. So you have like parameters like gravity and size, and you can pretty much make it endless. There's a preset called Black Hole that I really like to use and drive the mix everything to 100, just something like that. But for this tutorial, I'm going to use the Bitwig river, so it's pretty much it's going to produce nice results for sure. Let me look for a river. At least 7 seconds of the gain, make it whole, and make the mix like full. Also, let me stretch the sample. So I have right here the scale to 200, so it's going to make it twice as longer each time you press stuff. Yeah, something like this. Let me add an EQ because drones are not that like fully in spectrum. Bit of delay as well. And you can mess around here with the stretch algorithm. Sometimes cyclic produce different results. Yeah, something like really like you can hear the grains basically. This one is kind of interesting, but I think it's a bit too much. This one is good. And we can do the same for the Foley sound, stretch it. Copy your effects change. Dial a bit down the reverb here. Now there is like several other stuff that you can do to enhance like the movement, and in this tonal part, since it's coming too strong, I will basically like to make an auto panning kind of utility like LFO. Yeah, so as a final step, I like to group the whole thing and add again a bit of reverb, because it's really the something that glues this stuff, using the reverb. Something that I like to do is to use a shimmer reverb, and this one Bitwig doesn't have one, and if you're on Reactor you can go ahead and download this one. It's the the Boscomac Stellar is a shimmer river with several algorithms and different options you can dial in. And this one really adds a special tone that no other river can add. I mean, like shimmer rivers, they usually tend to be more specific. Yeah, so I think it sounds really interesting. Different, yeah. What you can do is what I encourage you to do is using this exact change, like try and look for different samples. Try and like use a library and start like layering in layers of three and put a lot of them with the same effect change and see what comes up with your current effect change and maybe for example from that. But yes, it's a really interesting trick that is going to because there are sims that you can use to make this stuff, but I noticed that it's harder to get like faster a really good result. You need to really tweak the scene and spray the voices and like use detuning or a lot of reverb. So it's basically the same procedure, but we're using audio instead of going and crafting something from scratch. So I think this one is a bit faster. This technique is faster because we are dealing with audio clips. We can use it whatever we want. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy this stuff. I didn't intend this to be this long, but yeah. So peace.